Well, welcome everyone, and this afternoon I'd like to take you through some of the features of why we've developed a continuing professional development tracker. Some of you might have already used our tracker, but the context for this afternoon is around a few things that you may be familiar with, but it could be a bit of a refresher for you, and for some people it might still be a little bit new. One of the reasons why we had to introduce a continuing professional development tracker was we're now part of the Seeker Professional Standards. We are following those professional standards as an association, and a requirement of those professional standards is that we track a minimum of 15 hours professional development every year in the career development field. So CEAV has produced a tracker, a CPD tracker that's very easy to use. It's online, and I know Naomi's going to take you through that later this afternoon. We're going to talk a little bit about the core standards and the competencies, those standards that are part of the Seeker Professional Standards. I'll talk a little bit about how the CPD tracker works, and CPD and the related professional learning, all our professional learning that we deliver for you, even this one this afternoon, we map to the VIT so that you can track that on your VIT portfolio of standards as well. Okay, so professional standards for career development practitioners. You should have all received your professional standards booklet. If you haven't, we can still send you one. If you're new to your school, or if you've misplaced your hard copy of the professional standards, we can still send you that. But in the standards booklet, you'll find the definitions for career development practitioners, an outline of what is membership to be part of the Career Industry Council of Australia, and a definition of the Code of Ethics, which we have designed the CEAV Code of Ethics against, entry-level qualifications, and continuing professional development, which is part of our PD this afternoon, competency guidelines that inform the development of entry-level qualifications. Now, all of this is available for you at the Seeker website, so it's quite easy to download your standards and information on the standards there. Right, so what is the Career Industry Council of Australia asking of us? To enter the professional as a career development practitioner at professional level, there is a minimum requirement of a graduate certificate or diploma in career development, a vocational graduate certificate in career development practice. And for those of us that already have master's or PhD qualifications in this field, that's also accepted as your entry level to the profession. It is an entry level certificate that Seeker is requesting at this stage, so for most of us, we have a graduate certificate, and that is sufficient. For new members or entering at the support level, the associate entry level is at Certificate 4 in Career Development. So our professional members, there's a requirement that they complete 15 hours of continuing professional development, and for our associate members it's the same requirement. So again, 15 hours of professional development across the year from a variety of the Seeker standards. And that's to maintain your professional standing. Seeker has recently requested that all member associations send in their list of professional members, so we're getting ready to do that, and they will then distribute professional certificates from the industry body itself directly to our professional members. But it will indicate that you're a member of CEAV and that you've maintained your continuing professional development. So when did the standards come in? They came in the 1st of January 2012, and primarily they were for endorsed courses for professional entry. So anyone who was undertaking a Seeker endorsed course received professional standing automatically. Anyone that didn't have a Seeker endorsed course or who trained prior to the professional standards coming in could apply to be deemed a professional using the alternative pathway to professional status on completing a deeming application. And we still accept the alternative pathway, so if you haven't put in and requested to be recognised as a professional or as an associate, we can still do that, and we do that on a case-by-case basis. It's just a question of filling in the deeming application forms which are sitting on the website and sending that into the CEAB, and we can then monitor you and put you on our list to send to Seeker. So what are our obligations under the standards? And there are a few things that you have to be very aware of. Under the professional standards, and as a professional, you need to provide guidance through unbiased advice and presenting all choices. And sometimes career advisors get accused of only presenting one viewpoint or only one pathway, and that's so unfair, because part of our professional code is that we must present unbiased advice and presenting all choices and allowing the student to come to a better understanding of themselves and a suitable pathway for themselves. We need to provide career services that are reflective of appropriate training and experience. We need to identify talent and values and build aspirations. We need to identify skills that will help the young person develop some resilience, particularly in the changing workforce and in the changing financial situations of so many young people and their parents and their carers that look after them. We need to maintain accurate and confidential records, provide opportunities for self-awareness so that students can come to a better understanding of who they are and where they fit in terms of their own career development, and to ultimately take control of the process so that when they leave us in our schools and in our organisations, that they can feel confident that they can manage the process by themselves. That's really a very key aim of professional career development. And assisting students to research and think through their choices to make informed choices. So these are our obligations under the standards, and as an association we're obligated to provide you with the opportunities to actually build your skills and knowledge in all these areas. Okay, so what are the 7 core competencies that you really need to have your foundation knowledge in? And these 7 core areas are what is required of you to build your CPD across the 12 months each year. So there's career development theory, and it's really an understanding of how those theories are applied to your work. So if you have completed your graduate certificate or diploma, you would have been made aware of a number of different career development theories, and then after researching your own style and considering how your time allowance is allocated to you, you would have selected a theory to apply to your work. So for many of us, and I know when I trained at RMIT, the theory approach that was the main approach that they used there was around narrative counselling, where you had a time to sit with your student and unpack some of the story behind their decision making, then consider that. Your main role is to listen carefully, and then with support and with some sound research knowledge yourself, you're able to guide and assist that young person to make future choices. Now that's one approach, but this whole competency is about learning about a variety of different theories and then applying some of those theories to your work. So if you're actually using any type of vocational assessment tool in your career service, then you need to be accredited to use that tool. You need to understand what theory underpins it, and then how do you apply that in your school setting. So for many of us that might have a good understanding of how to use something like the Moresby report, you would then need to understand what theory underpins that report and why you've selected to use it. So you really need to be pretty au fait with a variety of different theories and decide when to use them in your service. You need to have a strong understanding of labour market information. We have a professional webinar, and seeing that you've done this first one, then you certainly will be able to join us for the next one, which is coming up on the 5th of June, and you can mark that in your calendar. And that one's actually going to be delivered by Ivan Miller from the Department of Education and Workplace Relations from the federal government, and he's a labour market analyst, and he's going to be providing us with some really latest information on labour market trends. So that's one to put into your diary, and that's an hour webinar that will run on the 5th of June. The next information, and of course labour market's important, because if we really don't have a good understanding of future projected employment opportunities, how can we possibly assist a young person to make a considered choice in terms of certificate courses that they might choose and in terms of a future industry that they might want to go into for employment. Okay, I can see that Karen Miller's got her hand up, so I'm just wondering if she'd like to ask a question. And I'll turn the mic over to you, Karen, for a minute. Okay, so not a problem. If you've got a question there, Karen, you can write it in the chat room, or perhaps if your microphone's not working, you can have a go in another moment. Okay, I'll keep going because I know that Naomi wants to get through her presentation. Advanced ethical practice, advanced communication skills, diversity, information and resource management, and professional practice. So what our CPD requires that we do is that we provide to you opportunities in which you can build your skill and knowledge in all of these areas. Tomorrow afternoon, I don't know how many of you have registered for the VTAC information webinar. VTAC's delivering a session on using course counselling for students in Year 10 and 11, how to use the CourseLink system. So they're going to run through that for people. Of course, it will be recorded, and you'll be able to go back and listen to it at a later date if you're not able to be there tomorrow in the live session. And for CPD recording, you'll be able to pick up 2 hours under counselling, which sits in career development theory and advanced communication skills. And you'll also pick up additional elements under information resource management and professional practice. So by doing one webinar, you're actually covering quite a number of the Seeker core competencies. And that's basically how it all works. All right, so in terms of your minimum requirement, it's 15 hours across the year for both professional and associate. It needs to be completed in a range of CPDs, not all from the one category. So you can't clock up 15 hours of information and resource management. You need to be able to make sure that you're building skills under each of the 7 core competencies. You need to keep a record of your CPD, and that's where Tracker comes in. Now, for some of you that are also dual members of CEAV and CDAA, you may already be tracking on the Activate system under CDAA, and that's fine. We'll accept that. If you're tracking under CDAA's Activate system, then we have an agreement, all the Seeker associations, and there's 12 of us all together. We agree to accept any professional learning that's delivered by another Seeker member association, and we will honour those hours across to CEAV. So it's quite possible to clock up a lot more than 15 hours in 1 year right across those 7 competencies. And you need to determine your professional learning appropriate to you and your ongoing learning. So if you're a brand new beginning teacher, then you may be wanting to do a bit more than 15 hours in your CPD. If you're learning your career's craft on the job, then you might want to try and log into as many CPD sessions as you can. Alternatively, if you're a highly experienced practitioner, but you haven't returned to study for a number of years, you might want to consider upskilling to the vocational graduate certificate, which the CEAV has as part of its CEAV training division. I hope you can see that while I'm going through this, you can actually realise why the CEAB has had to broaden its scope. And in the past, where we've just provided short, sharp little PDs on how to deliver something in your school, we've now actually had to broaden our understanding and knowledge of what is required to be a professional or associate career development practitioner, and then bring you a robust program that will allow you to build your capabilities. And for many of our members that have been members for many years, you would have seen us change quite dramatically over the past 5 years, and it really has been in response to the Career Industry Council of Australia raising the benchmark of professional practice in this industry. And I think that professionally it has served us all very well, because for the first time we're starting to hear from principals themselves that this is a position in a school that must be resourced and must be maintained and supported. Okay, so what are the types of CPD that you can actually do? Of course, you can come to the conference, and we want to see as many Ballarat people at our conference. It's shaping up to be a great conference, and we have some key international speakers. 3 actually international speakers are coming to the conference this year, plus Dr. Mary McMahon, our academic who supports us and supports the work that we do. So she's coming as well. But you can participate in forums, local ones there in Ballarat, and you can track them in the webinars, of course, participating in professional skill development workshops every time that your careers group or your network forms and you run a structured professional skilled workshop, or you have an activity that has been designed to build capacity amongst the members, then you can claim that as professional development. Reading professional publications. Did you all get your journals? If you did, put your hand up, and I can see if you've already received your journals. They've all come out this week. That's great. Maybe some of you it's still in the mail for the rest of you, but certainly look for that professional publication. You'll notice that the journal has also changed to include a lot more articles, structured articles around research, around career development theory, and that has part of that has come about because we need to now comply with those seeker standards. So engaging in professional mentoring, I know that some of you would be keen to be mentors to new practitioners, and so you can claim that as your CPD. Academic study, of course, any academic study that you're doing in the field will probably clock up your 15 hours quite comfortably just in a semester's work. Writing or presenting professional papers, being an active member of the CEAV, any advisory boards or other relevant committees. So if you're a member of your Ballarat Careers Network and you're on the executive, you can claim that as professional learning, and you can also engage in supervision of other professionals, some research activities, study tours, or exchange programs. So anything that involves you in the network where you're building your capacity and your knowledge in career and career development, then you can claim that as part of your CPD. Okay, so I've got a question down here that says, how will the CEAB know if I've done my CPD hours? Well, we know because when you track it on the CPD, we can do a random audit. And we've just finished doing a random audit of 100 of our professionals. We have listed on our professional member database 389 professional members. So we're required by CECA to maintain our obligations to CECA. We're required to do about 15% of the professional members we need to audit. So we've just completed 100 of our professional members, and we're able to print out from our CPD tracker their CPD profile, and we can see whether the members have gone in and logged their CPD. It is based on an honour system. We had one member who put in probably about 20 to 30 hours of school-based PD. None of it was relevant to careers. Things like anaphylactic training, things like you know, CPR training. It's all valuable training, and it's all valuable for the work that you do, but it's not related to career development. So in that instance, that member would be contacted and some advice given as to what is appropriate CPD for the CPD tracker. And of course, our audits will be annual, and they'll be part of membership renewal. So keep your eye out. If you receive a letter or a phone call about your CPD, it's because we've been able to track and we've checked your CPD on the tracker. Okay, so where do you find the tracker? Now Naomi's going to take you through it, and she will actually show it to you, but it's actually in the member lounge. You can't access it unless you're a member of the CEAV, and I've just given you a quick screenshot of the member lounge. This is what you come to once you log in. So you do need your password. If you've forgotten your password, you can reset it. If you haven't renewed your membership, then you're not going to be able to access the member lounge at all unless you renew your membership. So it's important that you keep your membership up to date. And then you can access your the lounge page. Once you're in there, there are some features up here called My Custom CPD and Track My CPD. These two little buttons are for you to actually customize your own CPD. So if you have been reading the professional journal and you want to make a claim of 2 hours of professional reading, then you do that through the My Custom CPD. If you want to track your CPD to see how many hours you've completed in a year, then there's another button that you can go into. And in fact, we've been tracking the CPD since 2011. So there's 2 years of CPD that you could have quite successfully monitored over the past couple of years. Anyone who went to the conference in 2011 in Ballarat, we tracked the CPD for our members. Anita inputted that herself. So anyone that came to the conference received their 15 hours of CPD just by coming to the conference. Now, this year, anyone who registers for the conference and attends will have their CPD automatically tracked. Any PD that you deliver, that you undertake that is CEAV PD, can be automatically uploaded once you have completed your professional learning, and we can check to see that you attended your PD and that it has tracked successfully. So that's how you do it. And I'm sure Naomi will take you through and get you to log in and show you that feature locally. Okay, so if you're not sure about anything to do with the CPD or why you need to use it, you can contact myself or Naomi, and we're happy to troubleshoot any issues you might have with it. You can also email the webmaster at website at ceav.vic.edu.au. Anita's very good with her tech support as well. So if you have an issue, she can walk you through it and help you complete your CPD. Just to let you know, sometimes some of our members are not even on our website and they're trying to track, and she's very good and she can get you back to the CEAV website so that you're tracking successfully. So we've had a few members that have struggled a little bit with CPD, but we can certainly help you there. And of course there's a little section here on staff blogging. I don't know how many of you follow the CEAV blogs, but they're good fun. You'll find that our webmaster, she's a young Gen Y, she loves to make comments on anything that comes into the office via the email. So if there's any new policies, initiatives, she's always got something to say, and she maintains those staff blogs and keeps them up to date. So it keeps you in the loop about what's happening. Okay. So for a beginner, if you're a beginner and you're just coming into careers practice and you've been in it for less than 2 years, we would recommend that you build yourself a program that allows you to really build your capacity. Now, the new Careers Practitioners Training Program, we've now designed that as a short course. It's a 2-day program, and there are elements of it that could be applied across to some assessment in the Cert 4. So it's now called the Introduction to Career Development Practice. So if you know of anybody that's new to your network and that needs some training in career development, then can we recommend that you suggest that they come along to the July program? The dates are all on the website. We also recommend that you undertake the Change of Preference PD that's going to run in November, later in this year. There's the opportunity to do the real game of training. You've got an extra 5 hours there. Regional network meetings, they really should be attending, any beginners should be coming to as many of those as possible, and you can claim up to 3 hours of network meetings across the year. Your journal articles, reading your journal. In a non-conference year, it's 3 copies. In a conference year, it's 2 copies, so you could claim up to 3 to 4 hours of journal reading. CEAB member lounge, professional reading, policies, procedures, the code of ethics, and so on. And you can start to build up your CPD for any DEC DPD. If your regional career development officer is running some local PD, then you can certainly claim all of that. Okay, so that's your beginner. So for our experienced member, an experienced member would be someone with professional or standing that has 4 years in practice. So perhaps you'd undertake 4 webinars a year. You'd look to going to a forum of some description, a full-day forum. We had one last year that ran the whole day, and it was 5 hours. Of course, this year we've got the conference, so you would attend the conference and you could complete 11 hours of CPD by just completing the conference this year. You could run your regional network meeting or PD activity. You could contribute to the journal. If you are designing programs for your school in preparation for work experience or subject selection, you could claim up to 5 hours of CPD for the preparation of those programs. And of course, if you attend any type of forum with the CEAB, because of the conference, we're not necessarily running forums this year, but next year we will be. But certainly you'll be able to use those in your CPD. And of course, your sample CPD, highly experienced practitioner. These are our members with more than 10 years in practice. And I think that our members that may have been in careers practice for this amount of time should be at this stage considering upskilling. So perhaps they might want to look at a VOC grad in career development or a master's program. We have made arrangements with Mary McMahon from the University of Queensland that members would be able to undertake some additional units with her in her master's program. So you might want to investigate that a little bit further. Can we suggest also that you undertake some additional accredited training in some form of a vocational assessment tool? If you're not familiar with Career Voyage, you might want to do that. If you've got somebody that in your school that has used it before, or you have inherited the program, you might want to undertake the accredited training in that. Consider becoming a member of an international body like the International Association for Vocational Education and Guidance, the IAEVG, or the National Career Development Association of the USA. Training for mentors, you might want to consider whether or not we have opportunities to train you up as a mentor for the Introduction to Career Development Practice short course. Attending an international conference or a national conference, mentoring new practitioners, and of course putting yourself forward for a regional network, offering to run for the CEAB Committee of Management. There's at least 10 hours of CPD by just simply being a member of the Committee of Management of the CEAB, and there'll be elections this year for that position. Now that we have capability to run international video conferencing out of the CEAB office, it's not such a problem. If you're a regional member and you'd like to be part of the Committee of Management, it would be similar to what we're doing tonight. You would log in, we'd connect you up through video, and you could watch and monitor what's happening there. And of course, professional writing, journal submissions as well. Okay. So how do we align the VIT standards to the seeker standards? Because what we try to do is to make sure that any professional development that CEAB runs is accredited through VIT standards. And what we do is at the beginning of the year we apply to PIDI, and we put all our professional learning through PIDI, and then PIDI assesses our work and what we're offering, and looks at the way we've mapped our standards, and then provides us with a promotional code so that you can input that code into your VIT portfolio or MyVIT, and it allows you to track any CPD that we run here with, and get credit for it to the VIT standards as well. And you'll see that when you use TrackUp, we also have the VIT standards there, but that's how we do it. And if you go into the professional learning section of the member lounge, you will see as PIDI acknowledges our PD, it provides us with the PIDI logo and the code, and we put that up on the professional learning website so you're able to use that code. Okay, so we try to design all our CPD according to your learning goals and for VIT or professional appraisal programs as well. And of course we can provide you with a printout of your tracker at any time. You can print it yourself to add to whatever appraisal program that you have in your school. Okay, so in terms of this afternoon, the VIT professional practice, if we were to use element 6, teachers use a range of teaching practices and resources to engage students in effective learning. Against the seeker standard, you have covered advanced communication skills, career development theory. You could be doing specialisation assessment, labour market specialisation, counselling, diversity, information resource management, and for professional practice. So when you complete element 6 of VIT, you can also pick up elements of these seeker competencies. So if you were developing a career education unit of work for delivery to Year 10 students using the Victorian Careers Curriculum Framework, you could claim 5 hours on your tracker. So having designed that, you could also claim element 6 of professional practice under VIT and elements from each of the seeker standards listed there. And that gives you a really quite a robust professional learning program simply through the work that you're already doing with your students. Okay, so that's it for me this afternoon. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an outline of how we map and track and why we do it. And I'm happy to take questions, so I'll close the microphone and see if anybody would like to take the microphone to ask some questions. You just need to put up your hand.
Hi, Bern. I think everyone's a bit scared of taking the microphone. So, thank you for your... Oh no, Karen's got her hand up, so I'll turn off. I love the green one is the hearing. Yeah, that's why you can't. Here we go. You're right.
Hello, Karen. Can you hear me? Because it's not coming through. Let's try again. If Karen would like to ask her questions.
Hi, Bern. Karen hasn't got a microphone attached to her headphones, but she's going to write her question. She can hear but not talk.
Okay, that's great. So if she can write her question in the chat room, then I'll be able to see it and I'll be able to answer that for her. If anyone else would like to take the microphone, happy for you to take the microphone. Can you hear me, Bernadette? And I'm really asking this question because we're trying to have a go. I'm at a stage of my professional life where I'm more at maintenance level. I only work 2 days, trying to keep up with the information, the basic reading, attending our regional groups. It already takes up a high proportion of my 2 days per week, and I'm going to find it very difficult to meet the 15 hours. Does that just mean I should probably resign? Oh. Hi, Bronwyn. Don't resign. We don't want you to resign. I think for part-time practitioners, we would look at, you know, being sensible about the number of hours that you can do. So obviously, maintaining your reading and keeping up abreast of, you know, current policies can all be claimed as part of your professional development. So it would be important for you to just use Tracker in that way. If you can't get to face-to-face professional learning as such, or structured learning, then dip into the library, the professional library in the member lounge, and when you've got some time and you're not overly stressed, then you might spend 2 hours listening to a webinar, and over a period of time get to as close to 15 hours as you possibly can. I think it's understandable that, you know, you're winding down your hours and you're just doing your 2 days a week, and the CEAB would take that into consideration to ensure that you can maintain your professional standing. I hope that helps. Okay, I've got a question from Deb. Deb, if you'd like to take the microphone, I'll release it now.
Hi, Bernadette. Just wondering how I've gone blank. Oh yeah, how can we set up our own webinars for the regional thingy? How do we do that? Or Naomi tell us that? Stop.
Deb, are you talking about a webinar where you just do it for yourselves using the department system? Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
Okay, just a reminder that when you finish talking, make sure you release the talk button. You need to do that, otherwise I can't take the microphone. So, look, I'd have to look into it. At the moment, the situation is that the Education Department allows professional teaching associations to use the webinar, but I can't see why a network group couldn't. You should be able to have access, government schools should be able to have access to the Illuminate system. So it may mean that you have to run your webinar at a government school location, and that the government school becomes the moderator of the session. But we'd have to check that for you because I'm not exactly sure of the regulations. I know that all government schools can certainly use the Blackboard Collaborate for their classroom lessons, so they can hook up students from schools to schools, but whether or not they'll permit you to use it as a local network, we would have to find out, but I can't see why not. Okay, there's a question from Danielle. So Danielle, would you like to take the microphone?
Can you hear me? I really just wanted to ask a question so I could use the microphone, but you talked about a PD in June or July for new careers practitioners. Can non-members attend that PD?
Yes, Daniil. Non-members can attend that PD. Sorry, I've had some connection issues because you just need to turn off the talk button so that I can see. Oh, look, I've got a picture of somebody there, and I'm not sure who I'm talking to. While she's waving at me. Fantastic. It's Daniil. Good on you, Daniil. Yes, non-members can attend that session. Can you just hang on a minute? There's someone knocking at our door. Hang on. Oh, thanks. We've got someone knocking at the door. Okay. Yeah, look, that's fine. No problems. Non-members can attend that session. Okay. Naomi, if you're okay with everything and everyone's understood, I might have to log off now. So if people are happy with the session this afternoon, I'll stop the recording and close the room down. So Naomi, could you just indicate whether or not that's we're all okay? Thank you.